120 hours remain. Late afternoon. Ochako's eyes slowly opened as she flinched at the immense pain in her back along with the soreness from the rest of her body. She pushed herself up, feeling the comfort of a bed under her, shielding her eyes from the incoming sunlight from the hole in the roof. Hole in the roof. Ochako's eyes shot open as she looked around at her surroundings. It was her and Izuku's room from the log cabin, however the roof seemed to have been blown out. Snow and wooden debris littered the ground. Izuku's hero outfit and cast sprawled on the floor, missing its neck guard and gloves, and the rest of their belongings, desks, papers and such all destroyed or overturned. Ochako brought a sore hand to her head. The last thing she remembered was being surrounded down in the hospital, Nomu about to charge at them. So why was she here? And what happened? Her eyes grew wide as her eyes returned to Izuku's hero outfit. The gloves were gone. Did Izuku do this damage? Was he fighting someone? Suddenly the door to the room, barely on its hinges, splintered open to reveal a worn-out Kirishima, who wearily smiled at Ochako as he noticed she was awake. Good to see at least someone's awake, Kirishima said as he walked in. Ochako gave him a confused look. His clothes were torn and dirty and his usually spiky hair was falling down his shoulders. He had bruises everywhere and his cheek was purple. Kirishima, what happened? Weren't we under the hospital? Did someone save us? Ochako asked. Kirishima gave her a confused look. You don't remember? Kirishima asked. Ochako slowly and confusedly shook her head. Kirishima's face fell slightly, as if he didn't want to recount the events that had just transpired. Well, we escaped the hospital, and we blew it up to keep the Nomus from entering the city. We heard sounds coming from up here on the mountain, so we came up here and some guy, he was trying to take Hima, Eri and Midoriya. Well. Ochako's eyes grew wide. Kirishima, where's Izuku? Where's Eri and Hima? Bakugo? She asked slowly, her face contorting to seriousness. Kirishima's eyes turned worried as he raised a hand. Eri and Bakugo are fine. Unconscious, but fine. The one girl is okay. Hima, right. She's fine too. I've got them resting in beds and on the couches, so we're doing okay for the most part. Ochako's face had not changed. Kirishima, where is Izuku? Kirishima gulped as he stuttered to find his words, before taking a deep breath as he turned away from Ochako. He was the only one we couldn't save. Kirishima said quietly. Ochako felt her heart stop. Izuku was gone. How could she not remember? The guy we were fighting. He was able to take on all of us, and when he arrived, he had already taken down Midoriya and Bakugo. Midoriya got up a second time, but he was different. Something was wrong. He wasn't himself. Yet even all the power, the trench coat guy outsmarted him. You chased after them. We succeeded in getting the girls back, but he touched you and you fell. Maybe he did something to you when you guys came into contact. Ochako pushed the covers off of her as she stood weakly. Oi, you shouldn't be standing yet. You took a nasty fall. Kirishima started as he moved to guide Ochako back to bed, however Ochako stopped him. Izuku is out there being carried away by some memory-erasing experimental maniac, and you want me to stay here? Ochako shouted, slapping Kirishima's hand away. The longer we sit here, the further away they get. We have to go after them. Uraraka, we can't. Kirishima said. They went through some portal. They could be miles away for all we know. Where's Momo? Maybe she can make us something, a portal tracker, anything. Ochako said, racking her brain for anything they could use to locate her lover. However, Kirishima faltered there as well. Momo. Momo gave an emergency call from Sapporo. The Nomu broke free from the rubble. Sapporo has been overrun. I don't even know if Momo is alright. Then why isn't anyone doing anything? Ochako shouted. Kirishima let his arms drop. We're the only ones awake. Ochako's eyes grew wide. What? Ochako looked around the living room. Mina and Todoroki were laid on the couch. Todoroki still frost burned and regular burned, Mina bruised and cut all over her body. Are they going to be okay? Ochako asked. Kirishima lowered his head. I don't know, he said. The girls are amazingly unharmed. They're unconscious in Eri's bed. Bakugo is in his own bed. Ochako nodded, the light in her eyes fading as reality set in. Thank you, Kirishima. Ochako said as she limped her way to the door. Oi, where are you going? Kirishima called out as she opened it, revealing the snowy path down the mountain. Momo is still out there. Ochako said in a monotone voice, using her quirk on herself. I'm a hero that saves heroes. My parents are down there as well. Someone's gotta go. Then let me. You need to stay here and make sure everyone else is okay. They're gonna need someone to explain what happened like you did for me. I'll bring Momo back. I'll save them, Ochako said, floating as she brought her hand to Izuku's face guard still wrapped around her neck. It's what Deku would do. Asterisk 115 hours remain. Ochako grappled her way through the destroyed streets, her dull and anxious eyes looking for any survivors as she made her way to her parents' apartment. She landed in front of the building. It seemed relatively unharmed. She pushed her way through the door where her father jumped into the entrance in a fighting stance. You won't hurt my WIF, Ochako. Mr. Uraraka yelled as he ran to hug his daughter. Ochako winced at being touched, her body still sore, but accepted the hug nonetheless. Thank the gods you're okay, Mr. Uraraka said. Atoha, it's Ochako. Mrs. Uraraka came running into the entrance hall, hugging her daughter as well. You aren't hurt, are you? Ochako, you're bruised all over. Did you fight those things? Mrs. Uraraka asked. Ochako nodded. Yay. In fact, it might have been our fault. What happened out there? Ochako asked. Her parents looked at each other before giving her a sad look. Those things. They came running through the streets. They seemed to be more inspecting people quickly and roughly throwing them to the side. Looks like more buildings got destroyed than people hurt. It was like they were looking for someone. Ochata's eyes moved up and down his daughter's injured body before putting two and two together. Were they looking for you? He asked solemnly. Ochako nodded. Me and my friends. Dad. The people you guys were building the hospital for. They're bad people. They came from under the hospital. We destroyed the place to try and keep them underground after discovering them, but the parents looked at each other. It's our fault, Mrs. Uraraka said as she brought a hand to her mouth. Ochako's dull eyes grew wide. No, no, you guys were tricked. It had been there forever. The original hospital looked old. They used you guys as a cover up, or at least tried. Suddenly, a man appeared at the door, knocking even though the door was open. Ochako turned, ready to fight. However, the man raised his hand, his black suit waving in the wind. Ochata and Otaha Uraraka, the man said sternly. The Uraraka parents stood. Sorry, but we need to tend to our daughter at the moment. Your daughter can be taken care of by professional medical workers. The man said, shutting Mr. Uraraka. With our current investigation, the hospital you had been reconstructing is the source of the Nomu threat that spread across the city. As much as it pains me to do this, I need to take you and your wife into custody. Ochako's eyes filled with rage. First Izuku and now the world wanted to take her parents. This guy didn't even seem remotely pained about it. My parents are innocent. Ochako shouted, turning her full body towards the man. They were manipulated. The true villain is, unfortunately, Miss Ochako Uraraka. Or should I call you, Uravity? The man asked seriously. The only reason you as well aren't going along into custody with your parents is your whimsical preliminary license protecting you. And even then, that won't hold much weight in these events. Not for you, nor your friends' actions. You students, the pro heroes, and UA have a lot to answer for. As for now, your parents are not under the protection of the Active Hero Association agenda, laws, and are directly connected to this morning's catastrophe. Unfortunately, you will have to come with me, sir and ma'am. Ochako opened her mouth to argue back, however, his father put a hand on her shoulder. It's all right, he said towards his daughter. We'll answer any questions you may have. The man nodded, stepping out the frame of the apartment, allowing one to exit. I'm not heartless. You may say your temporary goodbyes to your daughter. The agent said. Mr. Uraraka leaned down slightly to hug his daughter, before giving her a stern look. Ochako, where's Midoriya? I see that look in your eye. Mr. Uraraka said. Ochako's eyes grew wide, a few tears starting to fall down her face. Gone. Mr. Uraraka sighed sadly as he hugged his daughter yet again, Ochako's mother joining in. He'll come back. We will come back. Please, stay okay, and stay the strong hero you are. Mr. Uraraka whispered in Ochako's ear. Ochako nodded as her parents released her and walked out the door, closing the door behind them. Ochako stood in the entrance of the hall, alone. Asterisk 110 hours remain until Shigaraki's completion. A thank you and a warning. Okay guys, serious note here. This story is taking a turn. It's going to get really dark. It's still an Izuocha story, and it's still centered around the dynamic between Izuku and Ochako. Ochako is technically now in the same place as Izuku was at the first chapter of this story. She couldn't save someone, and now the story is taking a turn. A different turn. This is now turning into what Izuku and Ochako realistically have to deal with in these real, hero life events. Catastrophes, being a hero, what happens when the government interferes, so on so forth. It's also a question of what do they do now. This has always been a reoccurring theme in this story. It's always been here, even in the very first chapter. The mental state of Izuku was much more dark and real and centered around Izuku and Ochako dealing with these real-life events of overhaul. In fact, it goes all the way back to Izuku and Ochako's first fight. Ochako's argument back in the Gaslighter arc was, if you remember, one for all can cause serious damages. That is something serious that could affect them, and it's just now coming back to really bite them now. I didn't throw that in there for just drama. It's a real question of, if Izuku has this gifted power that the most dangerous people in the world desperately want? What does that do to them as a couple really? Why mention this down here? Well, a lot of people reading this came for the need of Izuocha fluff, and this probably became a lot more of a serious story than intended. So this is a fair warning. This is going to get dark. It's going to be a tough ride for Izuku and Ochako. It's going to be a journey of how will their love prevail. These next events will somewhat mirror the manga like I did with this arc, referencing the liberation and the doctor's plan but doing my own spin on it for those who just want fluff. There is the I am here for you, quirky edition. I will also maybe be doing another much more lighthearted and fluffy story of Izuocha depending on time. I will absolutely be writing a fluff Izuocha story afterwards. This is the true story of I am here for you and those who have made it this far. Thank you. There's about 200 of you that have stuck around every day, reading chapters after chapter that just come out right when I post, commenting and giving feedback, and that's amazing. You guys make me want to post even more than I already do. For those who choose to leave this story because they wanted to simple fluff, I do hope I see you guys in my next story where it will be purely a love story with fluff. Thank you so much for reading. For those who have strapped in and are ready for the story we have been building up to for 80 chapters now, please enjoy the true story. I am here for you. Let's jump right in, shall we? This is the story about how I became the world's greatest fanfiction writer. Dot. Dot.